Hi, I'm Alex. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. Today we're talking about my fall book recommendations, and then at the end we'll talk about my fall TBR as well. I will say, fall is probably the book that I've read the least books for, which is wild, because I feel like a lot of people love reading in fall the most. But I think that this year I'm having my first fall reader girl era, because I literally just went book shopping and bought 8 fantasy books and made a huge list of a bunch of others I want to read. If you missed that video, I'll link it down below. But we'll talk about the ones that I do have, and then you'll see how crazy my fall TBR is. But starting with some mystery thriller recommendations. First, I'm going to go with The Chain by Adrian McKinty. This is one that I don't see people recommending a lot, and it sort of starts with somebody going to school, or with a little kid going to school. That's why it reminds me of fall. But it's about a family, or not a family, it's about the horrible thing that's been happening for years in the Boston area, where parents have their kids kidnapped, and then they have to kidnap another kid to get their kid back, and it goes on and on and on. So that is The Chain. I don't think that this was super thrilling, so if you get scared super easily, I would say this is a good thriller for you. But I thought this was a very sort of cozy mystery, although it was also high stakes, so take from that what you will. The next book that I'm going to recommend is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I think that this technically takes place in February, but it's set in rainy Ireland, and they are on an island that is a little creepy, and it's raining, and they're at a wedding, and one of the guests disappears and is found dead, and they're trying to figure out sort of what happened. All of Lucy Foley's books, I would say, are perfect for the fall, but The Guest List in particular is my favorite of them, and I think is great for this season. The last book I'm going to talk about is None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney. I know everybody and their brother, and in the words of Steph Bohr and their goldfish, are talking about the Naturals series right now, and I want to bring some light to this one because I think it's not getting nearly enough love. So None Shall Sleep is sort of the same vibe, except the kids are in college. So you have Emma, who was kidnapped by a serial killer and escaped, and you have Travis, whose dad was murdered by a serial killer, and they're brought into the FBI to help them interview some juvenile serial killers because they won't talk to the adults, so they need to bring in their age people. And some crazy stuff happens. So if you like The Naturals, if you like Criminal Minds, if you're looking for just a fast, fun YA thriller, read None Shall Sleep. And Some Shall Break is the second one, and I cannot wait for the third one, which I don't even think has been announced, but I don't care. I can't wait. Moving on to fantasy, I have 3 recommendations. The first of which is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I think when people think Leigh Bardugo, they think Six of Crows, and they should think Ninth House. This is the ultimate fall read. It's set at Yale. It's about a bunch of secret societies who do some pretty messed up things, honestly. It's magical realism. It's dark academia. It's so fun. There's a second book to this, Hellbent, that I also loved, and yeah, I would highly recommend Ninth House, with my whole heart and soul. I loved this book. The next fantasy book I'm going to recommend I don't actually have. I read it on Kindle Unlimited. It's The Keeper of Enchanted Rooms by Charlie Holmberg, and actually a second book to this just came out, but this is literally the definition of a cozy fantasy. It's about someone who moves into this house, and the house is its own personality basically, and they have to bring in somebody from a special society to help him tame his magical house, and it's just really fun, really silly. It's not going to be something that you rate 5 stars, but I think that it was really entertaining and I really enjoyed it. And then lastly, if you somehow have not picked up this masterpiece yet, please read Fourth Wing. Iron Flame comes out November 7th. I have it marked in my calendar. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. So if you haven't read Fourth Wing yet, read it now before Iron Flame comes out, because eventually you'll feel left out if you haven't read this, if you don't already. Moving into the romance category, this is where I would say I have the most books. The first one I'm going to talk about is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. So I am recommending this one because it takes place in September. It's all on September 5th. This book is about a world in which you receive a phone call from the government basically telling you that today is the day that you are going to die. And you don't know when it's going to happen or how it's going to happen, but you know this is your last day, so to like say your goodbyes and do the things you want to do. So it's about two boys who are both having their last day before they die, and it's just a really like sweet little, I think it's YA romance sort of book. The next book I'm going to talk about is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. Love and Other Words, I feel like literally everybody recommends this for fall, but it is literally the coziest romance ever. It's about two neighbors, or their neighbors at their like lake houses, or at their like vacation, or at their summer houses, but they are best friends when they're children. Something happens that you don't know about. It goes between past and present timeline, so you're learning about what happened to make them stop talking, but also hearing about them like reconnecting in the future. So it's very, very good. One of my favorite Christina Lauren books and perfect for the fall. Also, I have the fall cover. I know the new one has like, I don't know, the new one's very cozy, but I think this like orange is just like, I just want to go play in leaves with this book. The next book that I am going to talk about is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, and I didn't bring it up here with me, but also The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. So The Dead Romantics is about a woman who can see ghosts, and she helps them pass on to the other side. And she has a meeting with some guy at work. She goes home for a funeral, and when she's home, she sees the guy from work, but he's dead. So she's trying to help him figure out sort of what happened to him, and yeah, it's a little love story. I didn't think that I was going to like this, but then I really, really loved it. And then The 7-Year Slip I don't have up here with me, but it's about a woman who lives in an apartment in New York City. It's her aunt's apartment in New York City, and the apartment occasionally slips into 7 years in the past, but everything else is present day, including her. So she meets a man there, and it's a really cute romance. It's another one I was not expecting to like root for, but I loved it. Ashley Poston's writing is really incredible. I found myself in The 7-Year Slip tabbing, just like writing, that I was like, wow, that is really good. Her imagery, I think, is just so powerful. Like, I've never read anything like it. So if you haven't picked up an Ashley Poston book, here's your sign. Do it now. And then the last author that if you haven't picked up one of their books, Abby Jimenez. These two books are perfect for the fall. There's Part of Your World, which is a small town romance about a doctor who is like driving and her car breaks down in this small town, and the guy who fixes her car happens to be like the mayor of the town and literally everything else. And yeah, they hit it off, but she knows that her family will never approve of him, so it's a little bit of a forbidden romance. This book, though not set in the fall, like screams fall to me. Like, I don't know, this one is so good. I really don't know which one of these I like better. Yours Truly is about a doctor whose her brother is about to like die, so she's kind of struggling, and she wants a promotion at work, and another doctor comes in and he's getting put up for the same promotion, and she's like, this is BS, I've been here forever. So she automatically hates the guy, and then they start to get to know each other through like little letters. This has one of the best book boyfriends of all time. So if you haven't read Yours Truly, I would highly recommend picking it up. You'll love Jacob, I am sure. The last romance book I have to recommend, I guess I have two more, but I don't have them with me. The first is Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. Again, this is sort of like academic because she is in school, she's getting her PhD. I think it's her PhD, but maybe it's her master's. She's getting some kind of advanced degree, and she is writing about serial killers. She's kind of obsessed with true crime, and she like meets this guy, and she's kind of convinced that he is one. I don't know. It was just so silly. I actually annotated this book to give to one of my friends as a gift, and I don't have a copy of it on my shelf for that reason, but I wish I did because I just love it so much. I'm so happy that he has that copy, but I wish I had it. And the last book I'm going to recommend is The Fall of Bradley Reed by Morgan Elizabeth. This is the third book to 'Tis the Season for Revenge, if you read that, or Cruel Summer was the second one. This is just like the fall version. It's about a girl who gets broken up with. Yeah, she's about to get married, and the guy texts her and is like, I can't do this, and she kind of realizes that she didn't really want to do it either, but then she wants to get revenge on him because he wasted years of her life and did some other kind of messed up stuff, but I think that's probably a spoiler. Now we're going to move in to my fall TBR, so let me grab some of the books off my TBR cart. Okay, going through my TBR, starting again with mystery thriller. To start with the one that I have in front of me, and that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. If you've watched my book videos for a while, you know I really love Verity, so I need to read the OG, obviously, so that is first. The other books on this part of my list I don't physically have, so the first one is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. It's that one about the girl who gives an author a 5-star review, or no, a 1-star review, and then there's like stalking her. It sounds super interesting to me. I really would like to read it. And then the second one I want to read is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I love the cover of this. I love the concept of this. I could not tell you what it's about now, unfortunately. The next book I want to read is Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. I've never read an Agatha Christie novel. I think Destiny said well, so she wanted to read this, and I was going through all of Agatha Christie's books trying to pick one, and I thought this one sounded the most interesting too, and perfect for the fall time. The last book I want to read, I don't have it with me, I just bought it yesterday actually, is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, which is about a woman who like comes downstairs and sees her son like killing someone and wakes up the next day and it's actually the day before, and that keeps happening, so she's able to kind of like find out what's happening and maybe stop him, not really sure. Moving on to fantasy, which is definitely the category in which we have the most books, starting with A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I know nothing about this book other than the fact that it's dark academia, and I am going to leave it that way. I know it's a trilogy, and that is the first book. I am going to be doing like a dark academia video, and I'm reading that there. The next book that I would like to read this fall is The Alice Six by Olivia Blake. I have owned this book for 2 years. It has been sitting on my shelf since I started my Bookstagram forever ago, and I still have not touched it. All I know about this is it's about 6 kids that have some kind of powers, and that it's dark academia. Sounds super interesting to me. I also would like to get to that. The next book that I would like to read is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Again, another dark academia book. Can you tell what I feel in the mood to read at the moment. So I know that this is supposed to be a modern classic. People think that this is going to be something you're reading in school in the future, so obviously it's something that I need to read now. A lot of people also say that this is like their favorite book ever, so it's definitely been hyped, if not overhyped. I'm not really sure for me. The next book I have here is If We Were Villains by Emma Rio, and I know this is sort of a mystery thriller, but I am reading it in my Dark Academia video, so here it is in the fantasy section. So I, again, don't really know what this is about other than the fact that everybody loves it, and I am very excited to get to it. The last book that I have up here with me right now is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which I know is about a circus that comes to town at night, but that's really all I know. So I am excited again to read this one. I feel like I've heard more people raving about this recently than ever before, so it just makes me even more excited. Now for the fantasy books that I don't own, starting with Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I feel like, again, everybody has loved this book. One of my personal friends who has a book talk tube, Instagram, etc., read this book and said she really loved it, so I value her opinion and think that I would really like it too. So that is definitely on my list. Next book on here is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I have no idea what this book's about, just that it's like a cozy fantasy, and it gives cafe vibes. I think I saw Just Allie read it, and I don't think she loved it, but I think that's when I was like, I want to read that. The next book on here is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, which my husband actually just picked for the last day of my letting him choose my books video, so I am hopefully going to be reading this book soon. But as you heard me say about Ninth House, I adore Leigh Bardugo's writing. I can't wait to be back in Nin. The next book on here is actually not a book, but a whole series, and that is to finish the Throne of Glass series. So as of right now, I've read Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight and a few pages of Assassin's Blade. So that means I have kind of a lot to go, but I would like to finish it this fall. That way I can read Crescent City in the winter and be all ready for Crescent City 3 to come out in January. I just need to catch up on the Mossverse, that's all. Then, as I already said before, I cannot wait to read Iron Flame this fall. I am so hype. I don't know. There's nothing else to describe that. I can't wait for it to come out. I am ready. The next book and the last fantasy book is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. It's downstairs right now. And filming that video with my husband, it was one of the books that he had put on his short list, so it's kind of down with all of those. But I am excited to read Caraval. It looks very suspicious. I don't think I know much about it. I also know that Once Upon a Broken Heart is sitting in front of me, and I can't wait for it to be over here instead of on my TBR cart. But I need to read Caraval first, obviously. Moving in to the romance section, the first book that I would like to read this fall is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I know my sticker's on here. Please pretend it's not. Please pretend it's not. But I want to read all 3 books in the Knock 'Em Out series now that the 3rd one just came out. So obviously it starts with this one, which is Things That We Never Got Over. It's pretty thick. It's a little scary, but I know people say it reads really fast, so I would like to read that this fall. And then I also recently picked up The Long Game by Elena Armas, which is her new release. I loved The Spanish Love Deception, and I loved The American Roommate Experiment, so I'm hoping that I love this as well. I know this is about somebody who a video of this woman goes viral, and the team owner, she's like a soccer player, a professional soccer player, I think. the team's owner sends, who is also her dad, sends her to coach like a kids soccer team in the middle of North Carolina. So this sounds super interesting to me as well. And I really like her writing, as I said. Moving on, I want to read Accidentally Amy by Lynn Painter. I really do love Lynn Painter's books, especially her new adult books. But this is one that just looks perfect for fall, so I added that to my list, and am waiting for my hold from the library for it. And then The Ex-Hex by Erin Starling is the other book that I don't own that I would really like to read this fall. I haven't read any of the like fun Halloween books, so I would definitely like to do that. Maybe The Kiss Curse as well, but definitely The Ex-Hex. I like at least one this year. And then the last three are books that have not been released yet, that I am just very excited for them to be released this fall. So first is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. It comes out in 2 weeks at the time of filming this. I am so excited. I loved Icebreaker. I don't know if I'm gonna like Russ's story as much as the first one, but I am still very excited to see if Hannah Grace is going to be one of these authors for me, or if it was a one-book deal. The next book I'm super excited for is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher, and then also Check and Mate by Allie Hazelwood. So Check and Mate is Allie Hazelwood's like YA book, her first time writing YA, which is really exciting, and then Love Redesigned is the start of a new Lauren Asher series, which is perfect because I just finished the Dirty Air series, so I need something new from her to read. But that is going to be it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.